Good morning, all my fellow independent, hard-working, persevering patriots. Take a look at this story from the AFP. Silent crisis looms as U.S. to end the Wuhan flu aid for millions of jobless. Spending less on food, drawing down on retirement savings, dropping out of the workforce altogether. Wait a minute, if you're dropping out of the workforce altogether, you're not just merely jobless, you're a parasite at that point. You're depending to live off of other people at that point, aren't you? Let's go on a little bit more with this story. Oh, before we go on, take a look at the picture. I almost forgot. In the picture, in the window, we see a sign. We're hiring. That's a telling picture for this story, isn't it? And it shows two women walking by the sign without looking at it. You can imagine these women being unemployed going, nope, not going to work for the wages this small company is obviously offering. Let's go on, though. Last year, the United States massively expanded unemployment aid as the Wuhan flu broke out. Indeed it did. If you're unemployed, the federal government decided to sweeten the pot with an extra $300 a month. That honey pot, though, has run dry. But in the coming days, those benefits will end, forcing millions of jobless Americans, some of whom haven't worked for the entire pandemic. They haven't worked, but they could have. Like I said, with that honey pot of an extra $300 a week, I'm sure you've seen the stories where people were refusing to go back to work because they were making more in unemployment. But like I've always believed and done myself, it's better to look for a job when you've already have one. It's better to have you on your resume that you're working part-time, you're showing up for work every day that you're scheduled to, on time. It's something to show a future employer that you're willing and able to work hard for whatever money that employer is willing to pay for you. The benefits of working part-time is to show that future employer that you're dependable and willing to work for the money. Let's go on to one case study that's highlighted in this story. I have no idea how we would survive just on my daughter's income, said Deborah Lee, an unemployed phlebotomist. You know, I had to look that up. A phlebotomist is a person that draws blood. In order to become a certified phlebotomist, you go through a 4 to 12 week course, depending on where you are. Not exactly a high-skilled job. It goes on to say that this Wuhan flu affected her daughter and 2 or 3 of her granddaughters. But if you see by her sentence how we would survive, she's grouping her daughter, and 3 granddaughters all into one group. Sounds like a multi-generational household. Something you see often here in Hawaii. Also something you see often here in Hawaii is in that multi-generational household, only one person is actively working, pulling in an income. I'm glad I was raised to be independent instead of parasitic. Let's go on to the second story, though, that highlights Uncle Joe's failure in all this. This from 2 days ago from NBC. The economy gained 235,000 jobs in August instead of the 720,000 expected. My oh my. That's a third of the jobs they were expecting. And, well, it shook the stock market entirely. And it's all Uncle Joe's fault. It's why Uncle Joe's popularity, such as it was, has been bottoming out lately. It's not just his failure in withdrawing from Afghanistan. It's always the economy, stupid. It's what wins all elections. If you've got a healthy economy, you're much more likely to keep the person you've got than to throw him out, which is just one more reason to believe that something stunk about that last election. Let's go on to one more thing, though. Just like what was shown in that first picture, there are millions of unfilled jobs going out there. These are not the best jobs. Like I've said, a lot of these are low-paying jobs, maybe a little bit better than minimum wage. Maybe some of them are minimum wage, but they're jobs. And like I said, a job is more benefit than just the wage you're getting. It's something to show a future employer. If you show up for that job every single day, if you work hard, you're pulling down a paycheck, it's something to show your future employer. Like I said at the beginning of this video, the best time to look for a job is when you've already got one, even if it's not the job you want.